Welcome to my first Battleground Blitz guide. Today we're going to be covering Arathi Basin, classic map. I do think if this video does well and gets good reception, then I'm open to making guides for the other maps as well. But I thought it'd be a good idea to start with a basic OG map like AB. I feel like there's still people that are very clueless when it comes to how to play objectives and knowing where to go, lack map awareness and decision-making skills. So I wanted to make this video to help people out. A lot of people are so focused on killing blows and damage, especially at low ratings, but that's really not what matters in Blitz. It's mostly about positioning and decision-making and map awareness. So I want to go over some of that in this video and also some of the mage nuances with how to play mage specifically on this map. But even though you're not a mage, I think you could still get a lot of value from this video. So yeah, let's get started. Firstly, if you haven't played Blitz, it's the new solo queue RBG game mode that came out with this expansion. It's currently season 2 of the expansion, so the season 1 just ended. I was able to get the rank 1 title as a mage, or as a frost mage. This season we're sending it as an arcane mage, but I have tons of gameplay from the end of last season. So these games are going to be around 3,400 to 4K MMR. It's going to be top of the ladder game, so it'll be pretty quality for the most part. But even at high ratings, some people are still making mistakes, right? No one's playing perfect. And at the lower ratings, it's almost like an entirely different video game because people have zero clue what they're doing. In terms of the basic strategy, this is an 8v8 bracket, right? And there's 5 nodes. Keep in mind with Blitz, you have faster mount speed, so it's easier to rotate to different nodes. And if you cap a base, let's say I'm Horde and I cap mines, it will half cap for 30 seconds. And within that half cap time, the enemy team can recontest it and cap it and take it from you. But once that 30 seconds has ended, it will full cap. So it'll become a full Horde node for 45 seconds. And during the 45 seconds, no one can recap it. It's stuck as that faction, and you will score an X amount of points. It differs. I don't know the exact numbers again, but a farm and SC gives you a little bit more points. It's like closer to 150, and then the other nodes are closer to like 120 or something. I don't know the exact numbers. If anyone knows, please leave it in the comments below. But yeah, once the 45 seconds has ended, it will neutralize the node again, just like the beginning of the game, and it stays neutral until someone half caps it into a full cap. So this is interesting because it allows for the game to be a lot more dynamic, and even if you're losing really hard, it can allow for very big clutch comebacks. And I honestly love the Blitz rules. It makes the game so much more fun. Also, capping is only 4 seconds to cap a node. You have to click on the node. It takes 4 seconds rather than, I think it was like 6 or 8 back in the day. It's faster capping, so you can easily just like cheap shot cap on someone, gouge cap on someone, snowdrift cap on someone, and obviously like sheep is longer than 4 seconds. So it's very easy to CC cap on people. So it's important to be aware of that and spin nodes. For the early game strategy, it differs, and you have to kind of change the way you play depending on how the enemy team plays. But generally speaking, since again it's 8v8, there's 6 healers, and there's 2 healers and 6 DPS, right? So you want to send usually 2 people LM, a healer and a DPS, 2 people BS, a healer and a DPS, 1 person caps farm, and you send 3 DPS mines. So if the game is mirrored and played out as a mirror, you're going to have a early 3v3 at mines, and the person that caps farm, after they cap it, usually will instantly rotate to GM as well, and this becomes a 4v4. So the reason you do this is because that way you're actually contesting every node, and when you have a healer at a node, you're generally gonna be spinning because there's no dampening, right, in Blitz. So if it's a healer DPS 2v2 at LM and BS, those won't cap anytime soon unless someone trolls or someone gets knocked off the map. Another thing to note is for the classes that do get sent LM, it's usually like a caster with good mobility or a range that has knock ability. So that way you can knock them off this ledge and try to CC the healer and cap. So good classes to go there are going to be like Elishams, mages with their blast wave, hunters have a knock, And then for healers, you know, Evoker is really good too because they have this. I forget what it's called, but it's an ability to hook people to the ledge of the map and knock them off. Mistweavers are decent too because they're harder to knock, right? Because they can port back every time you knock them. So generally, like Mage, as a Mage, you actually do go LM a lot. I used to only go Mines and do the early game 4v4 every time. But near the end of last season, when I did push rank 1, people wanted me to go LM, which works really well. So I'm going to show some gameplay examples of me hitting LM. Yeah, and then for BS, it's usually going to be a healer and a melee DPS. Like usually it's going to be like a warrior or a DK. Classes that are usually not as good in the 3v3, 4v4 with no healer. Because warriors are better with a healer, right? And then you'll send like a pet class or something that can defend nodes well, farm. And then, again, those people will all go mines after for the 4v4. And then usually the person that was farmed will have to come back farm for the recontest 45 seconds later and recontest that. And then hopefully you win mines. And the people that went mines will hit the fresh farm when that resets as well. All right, so this game, we are sending double rogue mage mines off the rip. Again, as a mage, you're either going to be sent generally mines early game, and then you rotate S tier farm throughout the game, or you go LM and you do the 2v2 LM. But we're going to start with an example where we go mines here. Ideally, I usually go up here, scout a little bit, and then I'll slow fall down. Send a time warp, obviously, so we have time warp for the team fight. I alter high. I like to do that in the air. And coordinate damage on the same target, so you can try to blow someone up as soon as possible to turn the 3v3 into a 3v2 as quickly as possible to allow you to get the early game momentum. Here, I think I ice wall mid-fight. I think I get the cap here with the ice wall. Yeah, so this is really good. We get the cap, but now it's half cap, so they can contest it within the next 30 seconds, but 30 seconds later, it's going to get full cap, so we win the fight here, which is really good. And then at this point, generally the person that capped farm will go back farm to recontest the fresh node in 30 seconds, as you can see here. And then we'll send like 2 people that did hit mines after you win to ST, so we can actually contest ST. The biggest thing about this, again, it's an 8v8. And there's 5 nodes. At the lowest rating, I find that people make the biggest mistake of like going heavily BS because it's like the middle of the map. They think it's like the best node. And they send like 5 people there and then 1 person mines. Or sometimes they don't even send anyone mines at all. They're giving free nodes left and right. Or they're not even recontesting the second ST fresh. So because it's 8 players and there's 5 nodes, you want to spread out as much as possible. And keep in mind the nodes where you are sending the healers, 1 DPS and 1 healer is enough to spin that node. And if they send 3 people that node and you have 2, that's really good for you because there's no dampening. It's very easy for a healer to out heal 2 or even 3 DPS. So it's really good if they oversend 1 node. All those 2 people have to do is just keep spinning. And because they've oversent that node, now they're down numbers on the rest of the map. So it makes it a lot more likely for your team to win those nodes. So it's actually really good to be sending this 2 people with healer DPS on these nodes just to spin and contest and neutralize it. These nodes usually won't get capped very early unless one team trolls or someone gets knocked or something like that. So this is how it's going to kind of look for the early game if you are part of the mine squad. I kind of sit around for a little bit, scout a bit to make sure no one's going to contest this before it full caps. I see that it's pretty clear at this point, so I start rotating pretty early to ST because as you can see, ST is resetting in 8 seconds. Farm is resetting in 11. Our rogue is already near there to help if needed. Good thing about pressuring ST here is there's not going to be any healers here because usually they're going to have a healer, LM, and BS, right? So this is going to be another like DPS skirmish. All right, so ST resets here and farm resets because those were the first nodes that capped. We want to contest both. Do not let the enemy team get it for free. So we send 3 here, the people from the mine squad. And this ends up being another 3v3 here. It's going to be Rogue DK Mage, which is me, versus Hunter SP Dev Evoker. So we want to just try to win the 3v3 here again. Focus down 1 target. Alter back to full. I have to send the ice block. Drop a smoke bomb, try to cap. You just try to coordinate damage as much as possible. Obviously, this is kind of going to be a little bit of a clown fiesta because there's no healers, so it's just pure damage and trading. But you know, fights like this can be fun. Little things like this makes Blitz fun, in my opinion. Less damp and a lot going on, right? We end up winning the 3v3 here, so I capped the node, and now Mines has reset. So we want to make sure to go back and contest Mines so they don't get it free. We just killed 3 people, so 3 people are going to res really close to here. So we're going to wait a little bit because it takes 30 seconds. Once this hits the 30-second mark here on this add-on, that's when the node resets. There's still 20 seconds left before it full caps. So you have to try to take it back. So we're going to make sure this full caps. Don't even need to win this fight, technically. We just need to spin it until it full caps. Don't even need to kill them, but we're going to try to kill them. I'll alter high. Full caps in 1 second. Boom, there's the full cap. Now, at this point, you can't take it from us. For the next 45 seconds, ST is ours, and we're going to gain the points up here. So at this point, now that it's full capped, you've done your job. It doesn't matter. Like right here, I don't even care if I die. Here, I have ice block, but I'm not even going to trade it. I want them to kill me. This is like a good time to die. So I save my ice block for later. Me staying alive there provides 0 value for our team, really. And this is really good because I res in 7 seconds. I could maybe go Mines, but because ST is resetting in 20 seconds, I'm going to just stick around here. And if we look carefully, it looks like all the people that were ST rotated to new nodes. So we actually end up getting ST for free here. No one contested. The enemy team makes this mistake by not contesting this. So I get it for free. Imagine if I did block there and stayed alive for 15, 20 more seconds. I'd end up dying anyways, and then these people would have capped this node. So me dying there is a tactical death. I like to call it a tactical death. Now we get this node for free. And then we're going to skip through the game. We'll like speed it up a little bit because we don't have to go over the entire game because we have other gameplay examples. But generally after this, if you are part of the Mine Squad, you're going to be just rotating back and forth from Mines to ST, Mines to ST, or Mines to farm, depending on the timers. Just, again, keep in mind, look at these timers, try to be aware, and contest every node. If your team isn't doing it, you got to be the one to do it, you know? Looks like they won Mines, so I'm just going to come back and recontest ST. Enemy team makes a mistake of not recontesting it, get it free. And we end up winning the game. And as you can see from my POV, I'm just floating between ST and Mines all game. And that was a 3,700 game here. Before we get into the next game, I want to show some build examples because I didn't actually talk about that at all. Just, you know, more Frost specific. If you are playing Frost Blitz, there are 2 different builds you can play. There's going to be just like your regular Frostbolt build with your Icy Veins, which is this right here. I'll leave the import code down below. If you are playing Blitz, though, you'll probably play Ice Block Heal because you're going to get into 3v3s, like, again, with no healers. So having that Ice Block Heal will be good. I usually just take 2 points out of Arcane Warding, send it right there. And then you also have your Ray build, which you might be thinking, Ray, with Ice Form, actually. So the thing about Ice Form is it makes you immune to stuns for 17 seconds and knockback effects as well. And then it synergizes really well with Ray and Cryopathy because every time you Veins or Ice Form, it makes your next Ray do a ton more damage. And they're both 1 minute CD, Ray and Ice Form. So they line up really well together. And in maps where you are doing a lot of off-carding and 3v3 skirmishing with no healer, it's really nice because you're literally immune to stuns. You can alter and get fat Rays and helps you win the 3v3s a lot. So this is the build that I'll play usually in node maps like Arathi Basin, Deepwind Gorge, and then also Silver Shard Mines. If you're playing off cards, which as a mage you are a lot, you'll play this build. And same with Temple. It's really nice in Temple too, because you orb carry a lot, and being immune to stuns while carrying orb is crazy. Shout out to Ezier, Blitz Mage on EU, for putting me on with this build. All right, so now here's where the real fun begins as a mage. When you start getting into the higher lobbies, you're going to be sent to do 2v2s at LM. Mage, again, is one of the best classes to go LM because of your Nox and your CC. In this scenario, we are doing the Mage Pres Evoker into Warrior Mistweaver. So this is a pretty ideal matchup for you. Again, you're not really trying to kill them. If you can kill them, great. At lower MMR, you can actually kill people. But once you get into the higher MMR and start fighting better players, they're going to be exponentially harder to kill just because of how high healing is without dampening and just defensive cooldowns and stuff like that. So you really want to utilize your CC as a mage, try to force trinkets, and then CC on them again to CC cap. And on top of that, you want to go for knocks as well. You have Blast Wave on a pretty short CD, especially as Frost. So you really want to abuse that with DB knocks. So right here in this scenario, my dragon will go for a sleep on the monk. And I'm going to try to time a poly on the warrior at the same time. So right here, you'll notice we get the double CC. I'm going to put an ice wall right here too to wall off the angle to stop them from spinning. And this forces the enemy monk to trinket and dispel his warrior. So right here, we've gotten one trinket. That's great. They stop us from capping, but we force a trinket, so that's really good. And then right here, I send a DB knock. So the thing about knock is, I don't know why it's like this exactly, but when players are disoriented, whether it be with a DB, a dragon sleep, a fear, it makes them, when they do get knocked by any sort of knock, it phases them and knocks them further. So you really want to combo your DB knocks. It's super strong. This is what pretty much all the high rated players do. Even on EOTs, for example, they'll like warlock port people. They'll scatter them into knocks off the map and win mid fight. So that's what you want to do as a mage here. You'll see I DB knock him off of the map. Sometimes they'll die from the fall damage. So let's look at that again. He gets phased, gets knocked, and then we get a full sheep on the monk here with no trinket, and we score the cap. And now we are just kind of spinning until it full caps. We get the dragon knock as well. I'm going to skip forward. We get the full cap. Now I'm going to float over, see if farm needs help while LM is full capped. I sheep the monk right here because he has no trinket still. And we score the cap. Check this out, by the way. You know how I said I'm playing ice form? I sheep the monk. I press ice form, blink into the ROP, and cap in the ROP. Because again, during ice form, you're immune to knock. So that ROP would have stopped me from capping, but because of ice form, I get the cap for free right here. So this is one of the reasons ice form is so good on these maps. And now we look at the timers, and LM is resetting in 15 seconds. And again, I don't want the enemy team to get LM for free. So now we're going to rotate back to LM before it full resets. So right here, I show up for the fresh node. The warrior's here. I try to DB knock him, but this time he charges back. Our other warrior shows up too. My dragon tries to hook him off the map, but then the warrior charges the dragon and leaps up to me. And then I think my Presovoker actually slips off the map here, which is definitely not ideal. So I'm just going to try to stay alive here. I alter. I just have to make sure they don't cap for free, right? So I'm going to just spin the node. I block. Then I get a mass poly right here on both of them, and I start capping. And the monk trinkets. And mass poly is really good too on these maps. I forgot to mention because you can DB double sheep while they're stacked. And then you can also DB double ring next DR. So it's a great way to force trinkets on two players at once. So right here, we get the monk's trinket. And now the monk has no trinket, but the warrior does. So let's see what happens. Now we want to try to either like knock the warrior or CC both at the same time and force warrior trinket. Warrior actually trinkets right there. Let's go back. DB. Knock. He trinkets to charge me so he doesn't get full knocked. That's pretty smart of him. Then we sleep the monk. I can't shoot the warrior there because he's on DR, unfortunately. It would have been a quarter. So we just have to wait for DR to reset. And you can see my DRs right here. Oh, yeah, by the way, this add-on, if you don't know already, it's Battleground enemies to see their frames like this. And again, we're tracking DRs right here. Oh, we get a juicy knock here on this guy. Let's go back. I'm going to DB, knock the monk. And I guess he doesn't have port in this case. So he gets full knocked. And warrior has no trinket, so all I have to do is just try to sheep him here, which we do. And since we already forced his trinket 20 seconds ago, we get the cap. 2 for 0 LM. Now the monk comes back, but we just have to spin until it full caps over, and then the node is ours. So at this point, again, we're not even trying to kill him. They're not going to die. We just have to play for objectives. Oh, you see how he was slept right there? So I got the knock, the phase knock, but then he ended up porting. Again, it's just a back and forth of trading knocks, CC, and mobility. That's all it really comes down to. So right here, it full caps, so I'm just gonna suicide. Just kill myself. Doesn't even matter. I'd rather come back in 15 seconds, closer to when the node is gonna refresh with another ice block and full HP, right? So it's, again, another tactical death. You don't need to stay alive at all costs. It's better that you're recontesting a fresh node with all your resources. All right, so here the node's resetting. It's just me and the warrior at this moment. Our other two healers probably went BS, it looks like, or ST even. Warrior has no trinket for like 5 seconds here, so I'm going to just pre-place an ice wall. I try to pet nova him through the wall, but it doesn't work. I put a ring of frost down on the angle. I also pre-ice form right here. I start capping, so I immune the storm bolt because of ice form. Again, immune to knocks and stuns. So then he fears me and walks into the ring. So I block the fear off to start capping, which he ends up trinketing, and I DB knock him. And boom, we get the node. I ended up blocking that fear because if you look carefully, the timing of the ring on the warrior, boom, right there. It's 6 seconds, 5 seconds, and it takes 4 seconds to cap, right? So I block insta-cancel it while there's 4 seconds left. So if he doesn't trinket this, I will get it. But because he does trinket, I will DB knock him. And now LM is 3 for 0. This is really good. Like, as a mage, it's really hard to deal with some classes, especially hunters on LM. But if you're fighting a melee, it's a lot easier, as you can see. And at this point, we're so ahead in the game because they haven't won LM once, and we've won it 3 times. So, of course, we're just very ahead. And we end up winning this game by a pretty big score discrepancy. So, yeah, let's just say the enemy team sends 3 people LM. It's going to obviously be a lot harder to cap on them. But all you got to do is try to stay alive and spin, stop them from capping. And because you're just stalling, your team is going to most likely win the other nodes because they're down 1 person to the other node. So it's actually a good thing if someone else shows up. But if one of your teammates show up, then you want to either tell them to leave, and if they don't leave, then you just leave. You be the one to leave, and you just start hitting farm or ST or even mines. And hopefully that gives you a better understanding of how to play the map and what your job is as a mage. Hopefully that's opened your eyes up to the power of knocking. And disorient knocking them. That's just, again, pure objectives. Yeah, there's going to be games where you don't score a single kill at 3,500, but you're winning the game for your team. If you guys have any requests to see guides for other specific maps, you can leave it in the comments down below. And whatever gets the most amount of thumbs up or likes, I will do a guide for that next. But yeah, until next time.